to get demons up out of me. Turn to a beast with your arteries. Just ceasing opponents so properly. Unleashing the dark side, what got to me. We come to take this shit over. Foot on the gas, hit a motor. Switching my thoughts, I'm bipolar. I stare in the eyes of a cobra. Say you won't smoke, come get it. You wanna play dumb, I'm with it. I'm about to take over the city. I came with my committee gang with it. Came for the bag and the profit. Looking for the wave when we got it. Nigga, you ain't scared nobody. Bah, bah, that's a whole body. Bah. On the dark side, it can get cold. It's a cold case. In my right mind, I can ride till I roll race. Still a 10 on my left wrist in that soul place. On my knees, thanking God, they don't got me through the pain. Danger, I don't fit in, I'm a stranger. Believe I can take out all the evil. Empowerment to all my people. I can prove to you I'm a leader. Run through the money, no visa. Forgive me, cause my life illegal.
Searching for the bag and the prize. On a mission looking for them bad guys. Can't run no player, but my head I'm real wise. Look at his eyes wide, thinking traumatized. Take me as a joke, I'ma hang him on the road. Cause where I'm from, we don't play like that on the outside. Better not free, cause we know you gon' joke. Talk behind my back, but your shots backfire. I know you tried, but you never could survive. I see the fear that's in your eyes. Run like forest, they tryna hide. They criticize in the skies. They know I can only tell the truth. They know all you do is tell lies. I'm about to take over the city, tell me you with it, cause I know my squad gon' ride.
On the dark side, it can get cold, it's a cold case. In my right mind, I can ride till I roll race. Still a 10 on my left wrist in that soul place.
Hill remains the back at a 3rd and 8. Chance for the Panthers.
Got me through the pain.
Jackson does a great job at getting it
I don't
out
fit
before
in, I'm a
it gets
stranger.
Believe
I can take out all the evil. Empowerment to all my people. I can prove to you I'm a leader. Run through the money, no visa. Forgive me, cause my life illegal. Come on, say you want smoke, come get it. You wanna play dumb, I'm with it. Looking for the wave when we got it. For the wave when we got it. That's a whole body. Danger. I don't fit in, I'm a stranger. Believer. I can take out all the evil. Empowerment to all my people. I can prove to you I'm a leader. Run through the money, no visa. Forgive me, cause my life illegal.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of What the Game Means to Me, Atlanta Falcons Fly-Through Edition. I got a special guest with me today, also a Falcons fan. Sorry, Greg. I don't know why I said former.
Feels like that sometimes, right?
Right? It's like we're probably both about to denounce our fandom with this team after what happened this week again. But how you doing today, man?
Man, if I'm not gonna kick out after the Super Bowl, I'm not gonna kick out after a random game in the middle of the season. I'll say that much. But
yeah, you're right,
man. I hope you're right.
Yeah. Like I said, another not special episode, but just recapping the week, everything that happened on Sunday. We're gonna play another game of yes, no, maybe. Last week I did the head coaching candidates, but this week we're gonna go over some of the GM possibilities, and then talk about who we're looking at to possibly draft at 5th or higher, depending on what goes on these last 2 games, and then finish it out talking about our Pro Bowl guys that we got picked today or yesterday, and then also ones that we feel like should have probably got picked. But just to start out, everybody sees the score. Everybody saw the score probably at halftime, 17-0, and then we end up 31-27. So just some initial thoughts on the game, Greg, and then just kind of what you were going through, your range of emotions throughout that game.
Man, I guess the best way to put it is ever since I guess the Super Bowl, no lead has been safe with us. So like I up to 17-0. I'm flipping through Twitter, and we got friends in the UK that are doing the same thing. They're blowing up, having a great time. I'm like, this is not the time to be happy right now.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's not like it was crushing by any means to me. Unfortunately, if we see until we see zeros on the clock, I'm not convinced we're going to win.
Exactly.
But I will say, man, like I you know, I'll die on this hill. I don't think it was Brady.
Yeah.
It's not Brady that wins this game. It's we find ways to beat ourselves.
Exactly.
That's
Yeah.
that's me anyway. How about you, man? What were your feelings?
Yeah, well, real quick, I guess my guy Julian, he says Arthur Smith for Falcons head coach. Yeah.
Let's fly off right now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's already ready to get into next season. But for me, I don't know. I was saying this on a few of my other guys' shows from off the ball network. They had Overreaction Monday, but I was saying I don't know. I really felt like a real casual fan just watching the game, and I was like, I probably sound bad. Like I don't sound like I'm a Atlanta Falcons fan at all. But I was like, it really for me, I was just watching a regular game. It's like, oh, okay,
Yep.
Like not really a fan of either team, not really like rooting for one side or another, just kind of just watching it all play out. And like you said, like I wasn't really too upset about the loss. You know, it's another blown lead, 17-0 leading. And then of course we end up the game 31-27. So I was like, I don't know. It's just I don't know if I felt like if I'm just numb to the situation or I just know it's gonna happen. But I was fine. I was like, I watched. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, cool. Like the only thing that got me a little upset, which I forgot we could probably talk about, but like not saying we would have went down and scored, but they just took the opportunity away from us by moving the ball, a yard and a half or whatever up to kind of seal the game for the Bucks. That's the only thing that kind of ticked me off a little bit. But other than that, like once I was over that, I just changed the game to the next game, watch Saints, and no,
for sure, man.
Exactly.
I felt the same way, and when things get ripped out from under you when you don't believe, when you don't deserve that hurts. But I'll be honest with you, I had a weird reaction this week, and I my buddy texted me early on. He said, "Since when is your team good?" And I was just furious, because I was like, "Man, this is the same thing every single year. Right as soon as we lose playoff opportunity, they turn on the Jets and they start tearing people up." I'm like, "What is this?
Exactly.
Why?" So honestly, when they lost, there was a bit of relief. I was like, "Okay, so this wasn't just
Yep.
like." I'm so sick of the like you're out of the playoffs. All right, let's go on a 6-game win streak.
Like what's the point? Like just to ruin our.
Seriously, we've been living next year forward after week 3 for like 3 years now.
Exactly.
So, it's just hard to put up with.
Exactly. So like I said, I'm like for like you just for both of us, probably just more so relief that we didn't just end up pulling out another 43-6 type win like we did against the Raiders. It's more securing, like, okay, we're in the 5th spot, and more than likely we're probably not going to move too far away from that now, given there's only two games left. But I was, like I said, the only thing that kind of infuriated me, I guess we'll talk about that a little bit. Actually, I'll go talk about, like I said, just our initial thoughts and reaction. But I want to ask you, was it more so Brady or was it more so our defense that kind of let this one slip away?
I'll be real, man. I'm not really impressed with Brady this year. I'm just not. Like he doesn't like. I'll be honest, like their team looks like an all Madden team from 6 years ago. Yeah. Like it's not, they don't, there's nothing flying off the page for me with these guys. So really, I don't think it was Brady. I think, there may have been an element of that in the back of Matt's head, but at the same time, I don't blame Matt for this one. You throw up 356 yards, no.
Yeah.
Plain and simple.
Yeah. He did his part, but there's always those few fans out there that's like, Matt this, Matt that. We get it every single game. We always see it. So it's whatever.
It's hard, man.
Bucks are a first round exit at best. And I definitely see, especially they're not like, as we can see, like I'm saying, the Falcons aren't really a slouch. Like we know like internally there's a few things that we gotta get corrected. But if they come out and perform the way they did Sunday against any playoff team that they're gonna face this upcoming year, unless it's a team from the NFC East, but their positioning is they're not gonna face one of those teams. But if it's any other team in the NFC that they come out and play like that, like there's other teams finish games, other teams know how to make adjustments and win those games, especially in the playoffs. So there's no way that if they play the way they've been playing, because they always get out the real slow starts. Like they're not going to be able to just turn the Jets on every second half. For the rest of the playoffs.
You can't rely on that fourth quarter against better teams.
Whatsoever. So, I'm like he just said, first round exit at best. But I wasn't impressed really with Brady. I think it was more so of our defense. Like I don't know if you did the same thing as I did, but like when I started watching second half, and I literally knew who the ball was going to every single play. Like before, like I felt like I was Brady out there, like pre snap reading, like seeing exactly. I'm like, wow. I'm like Mike Smith or Mike Evans about to get the ball right here. Chris Godwin's about to get the ball right here. Oh, yeah. Tyler Hall's on Antonio Brown. They're about to go deep. I just knew every single play where the ball was going, and it went to that exact player. So I was like, if you could see, like the corners were playing like 15 yards off the ball, like every single snap. I'm like, they're gonna like they have weapons. They're gonna quick throw you. They're gonna if it's one, especially if it's 1-on-1, quick throw, 1-on-1 blocking. Our corners and cornerbacks aren't or defensive backs aren't like they're not big whatsoever. So it's gonna be easy to like one-on-one blocking down the field, like with Chris Godwin with the ball in his hand, like they're gonna take those 6, 7, 8, 10 yards every single time. So that's what I was a little upset about.
Oh, I do that every single time. Like, that's that remnant of that Dan Quinn defense, though. It's like, get the big lead and then all of a sudden start going super soft prevent. I don't get it. It's never worked. I just maybe that's you could get away with that when he was in Seattle. I mean, when you had the pass rush, the linebacker, you could do that. You can't do it now without a defensive line, especially.
Exactly. No defensive line. We're playing with I still can't pronounce the name, number 91, but you know what I'm talking about. We're playing with guys that are solid. We're not playing. We're not playing with game changing guys that's gonna be able to put pressure on at least two out of 3 or 4 of the plays on the drive. So it's like. It's not gonna work. But also, I think the commentators pretty much the entire day, like every time we would force them to a 3rd and long, they're like, "Why are they playing prevent? Playing just a yard or 2 behind the first down?" Like they kept saying they're not a fan of that type of defense. So I was like, me as well. There's like you should just have an actual call in place instead of dropping everybody back before the the first down line and then possibly because there's been times even this year and last year I remember like we have teams in 3rd and 20 and they would convert because we'd be doing the same style of defense
or that Jameis Winston 21-yard run or some crap like that.
Just ridiculous.
Yeah, I just don't understand it, man. I just for me, how many blown leads is that for Raheem at this point?
For him, it's 2.
Detroit as well.
On the season, we're at what, 4 now? 5?
Yeah,
5
so,
if you want to count the Chargers. So.
I think that if you want to, for me, I think that if it wasn't sealed by losing to New Orleans twice, I don't think you can bring the guy back at this point. It's too much of the same.
Yeah, exactly. And I know we've talked about it on the UK's guy show that we just can't have any remnants of Dan Quinn, like anybody under his tree, anybody that he brought in under this organization, no matter how much we may like Ulbrich or Raheem, like those guys should get opportunities elsewhere. But I don't think it's possible to keep them in this organization and expect us to move forward in any type of fashion.
Exactly right.
Yeah. And what's up, Steven? Appreciate you for tuning in. He's another one of my coworkers from Off the Ball Network.
All right.
Yeah, he's a Rams fan, but he has a or NFL mind. Yeah, I was like, that's a whole nother conversation. He was pretty down this weekend, but it happens to the best of us, I guess.
It happens to us every week, so you're good.
Exactly. Julian Gangland needs an offensive-minded head coach. That's a good, I guess, a good little point before we segue into a little bit more about the talk on Sunday, but then also our yes/no maybe with GM candidates. Do you believe that Atlanta needs more so of an offensive-minded coach, or who do you believe would probably be like the best fit if you have any names or like any type of scheme wise or had a certain scheme that we would be best to go with?
So I don't necessarily agree with the offensive head coach like absolutely having to have it outside of the fact that we just all want something new, right? Yeah. We went through the Mike Smith era, we went through the Dan Quinn era, and it was all these defensive guys and before that. But I mean, the same point I brought up to somebody else recently. We had the number 6 best offense in NFL history with a defensive-minded head coach. So, I mean, like, it really just comes down to the team that builds around them, right?
Yep.
For me, San Fran's defensive coordinator, Saleh. I'd love to see him come over. I mean, he's built a juggernaut. It was really telling to me last season that Shanahan's offense was not what got San Fran to the Super Bowl. it was the defense that was going to knock your head off. So for me, I mean, I'd love to see that. I mean, obviously, everybody wants to talk about Bieniemy, and I'm about it. Or Daboll out of Buffalo. I mean, like all these offensive coordinator guys are fine. You know, it basically if we just get away from somebody that's wanting everybody to run Shanahan's playbook, I'm good.
Yeah, exactly.
That's basically me.
I'm not on the same board with that.
Yeah, unless it's who's Mike LaFleur? Is it Mike LaFleur, Matt LaFleur's brother?
Yeah.
They were saying he could be in line for an OC job. If you want to run Shanahan's playbook, get somebody off his coaching tree, and he's one of them, right?
Yeah.
Otherwise, we got to move on, and we got to move on from this like four verts offense. That's just like when you have an offense that is based around the idea of making third downs manageable, and yet you never ever get a manageable third down. You know, something's wrong.
Yep.
So that's just me. I missed out on the recent talk, man? Do you have a particular feeling, like a particular coach you want in mind right now?
Like I said last week when I did my little yes no maybes with the coaches, Salo was one of the guys that I had on there, and I know I said yes to him, just because, like, I think we've talked about it a little bit before. I don't think I care too much about whether it's an offensive mind or defensive mind head coach. I think I'm more so. One, didn't want them to go super duper young at head coach, like one of these, gurus that they think is an offensive mind head coach. Well, I just want somebody, like, I guess that's obviously going to like allocate, I guess, the responsibilities, like someone that you can trust. Like, so if they do go young head coach, like they're going to bring in a veteran, established defensive mind coach that mixes it up a little bit, like knows exactly what they're doing, knows their personnel, and knows. And get the right guys in the right position and stuff like that. Yeah. And vice versa, whether, young defensive mind head coach, like they're able to get somebody, a seasoned offensive guy that, like you said, is not being forced to run Shanahan's playbook and, like trying to figure things out on the fly, or, just have this cookie cutter, dirt cutter offensive, mind. Just like stuff like that. Like that's all I really care about. Yeah. Which I think I said it yesterday on it. I was like, the first half of the game, like I felt just a little different. I felt like it wasn't like super cookie cutter. Like they actually was doing a little bit of different things. Like I seen Matt actually like drop back, like 3-step drop backs and stuff. Like it wasn't just all play action or dive or out routes on third, like stuff like that. I felt like a mixture of things, but it's like I felt like he lost the playbook again, going into the tunnel at halftime and came back out. He's like, oh damn. Like basically found the old copy or whatever. So
I don't know what to do. Go back to page 1.
Yeah, exactly. It's like damn. Like just go back to page 1. Like I said, Julian. The fella shifting to offensive minded league, not to mention good OCs are. I mean, that is true. I mean, my fault. You can go first.
I was like, outside of the, I'm with you. I don't want the super young head coach because the Matt LaFleur's don't work out that often. The John McVays and everybody, and they've taken their lumps. Both of them have. Now, if you want to bring in a young, like offensive guru to run the offense and bring him in as an OC, I'm about that.
Exactly. I'm fine.
I'm really about that. And obviously that comes along with you're going to lose them in a year or two if you start doing well. But like that's just nature of the beast, right?
Yep.
But I guess the thing that's got me so turned off about these older guys that they keep connecting them to is the league's changing, man. The league's is changing, and like. I don't blame Matt Ryan. I blame the plays that are being called around him, because he's still we're moving to a mobile quarterback, but not the Lamar Jackson. I mean, not the Michael Vick, not the guys that rely on their legs, the guys that rely on their arm that can run. And we're just moving to that era, and it's time. We got to start making the changes, man. And we just haven't been.
Yeah. And then Steven actually said Lincoln Riley. He was one of the guys I had on my list last week as well, because he's just a hot coaching candidate. He's the quarterback whisperer over there at Oklahoma. So what did I say? I think I said maybe last week because he's still one of those young guys, but he has had success. But he's had success with a specific type of quarterback, like you just mentioned and said. They've all been pretty mobile, strong arms, and Matt Ryan, though he has a decent arm. Decent decision-making, playmaking. He doesn't have the legs, obviously, for certain type of offenses that, like you just said, are being run nowadays. So it's it's a specific type. We're gonna have to have a specific type of quarterback either put in place, and it's just not. Yeah, it's like we can't make Matt run that style of offense.
Please no.
So it's like, but like you said, I think we both are on the same page. Like I feel like Matt is, I'm not one of those guys like trade Matt, get rid of Matt. Like we need a new quarterback like next year. Like it's. And I was just about to say something, but I saw that. Would you trade Ryan for Wentz?
No.
I don't know. Steven's pretty high on Wentz, and I was talking about it actually yesterday with Natasha Cloud on Twitter a little bit. We was going back and forth. She's WNBA champion with the Mystics, but basically we was both talking about like Wentz is a good guy. I feel like he's a good quarterback. I think it's just his time in Philadelphia is over with. It's kind of just run its course. They're like him and the team just aren't clicking. They're not on the same page right now. And there's always been whispers if Wentz wasn't performing, Hurst was going to get that opportunity.
Sure.
And he took off with it. So I feel like there will be suitors this offseason for Wentz, but me personally, for our Falcons and our organization, I don't know if I'd want him.
He's not a bad quarterback. I mean, I know he's had a bad back. I mean, that's rough early on, but he looked like an MVP until he got hurt a few years ago. But I'm not surprised his time's run out, man. He got hurt, and a backup quarterback won the first Super Bowl for their franchise. I mean, that's already gonna
that's already putting whispers in the building.
So I mean, it's just for me. Now I don't know that he's the answer for Atlanta. I think that he needs a better offensive line, and I don't know that we necessarily have that built right now. Yeah. And I don't want to see Carson just be a washout. I don't want to see him end up on 3 more teams and then just leave the league. Yeah. So no, I don't think. And honestly, though, with them having Hurts up there, we can't trade Matt Ryan to Philly and get Carson Wentz back because they don't have a quarterback. Yeah. So I mean, that's all the same. I did want to back up real fast to that Lincoln Riley comment because I was big on his train last year. Yeah. All I wanted was Lincoln Riley to come in. I jumped on the UK guys a few weeks ago in their show, and Jeff Reinbold, former coach, jumped on, and he trashed Lincoln Riley. And it threw all of us. I was like, I'm not allowed to say those things, Yeah. But he was basically saying that, at Oklahoma, you get all these top tier talent, and they just don't look that well coached. And so it's, I would love to see if you got Lincoln Riley an offensive coordinator position.
Exactly. Yeah.
But is he going to leave a top college head coaching position to be an OC in the NFL?
That's the thing. That's a good point, actually, because I was just thinking that. I was like, I would definitely take him as an offensive coordinator, give him one side of the ball to take care of and handle. I would love that. But as a team, like you just said, like for not to switch over to college, but Oklahoma, they're like we just said, like he's kind of known as a quarterback whisperer. He's basically he's an offensive minded guy, and they've never been known for defense. This year they've actually been playing a little bit better these last 6 games, but overall they've never been known for defense. I guess honestly the whole conference isn't known for defense, but them specifically, like you just said, like they get a bunch of top recruits, top talent. They're always in the conversation in the beginning of the year, but somewhere down the line, they always fizzle out because they can't stop anybody, and they can put up points a little bit, but it depends on, like you said, whoever they're playing. But I can definitely see why certain coaches, I guess, would trash him. But like you said, I would love to bring him in as offensive coordinator, but I don't think like that. I don't think it really connect. Like you just said, like why would you leave? That
you're the top guy.
Yeah, a top guy at a top program for kind of like a secondary position with the NFL team that's not doing the greatest. So it's like,
and also, man, you just described a defense that's not there, an offense that can put up points, but defense can't hang on. That kind of sounds like us. Like, what that round 2?
Yeah, so it's like he's literally he's in the same position, but just on a higher, more national, like scope. So basically, like Steven just said too, Riley isn't doing that, and I agree with that. So I mean, it's fine. It's whatever. Like I said, he was on my maybe list anyway, but I would more so want him just to be focused on one side of the ball. He could have been in Dallas this year.
Anybody could have been.
Yeah. And it would have been full range for him. Like I said, we didn't see what Mike McCarthy is doing with that team. So, I think, yeah, and I feel like Dallas, unfortunately, I hate to say it because I hate Dallas with the passion, but they're
Absolutely.
probably a more, that job would probably, I guess, look more, sexy or whatever for, coaches coming out of college versus like our, position, which I
I don't know,
mean,
man. Not for me, I don't
yeah.
like Jerry Jones.
Yeah,
I don't.
that's what I'm saying. I hate Jerry Jones. I think that's the biggest issue with them. Like, that's probably the reason why. Like, if there was a whole different GM, say if Arthur Blank was their GM, I feel like he probably would have made that move. And like I said, Jerry Jones probably just had most of the say anyway with who they was gonna bring in. So he wanted Mike McCarthy, and that's who they got. So
Yep.
let me see. We're gonna move on to our yes, no, maybe. Like I said last week, I did head coaches, but this week it's GM candidates that we're going to be talking about. I think I got
that's gonna hire head coaches.
Yeah, exactly. So I think I got 8 listed. If you want, we can go through yes, no, me. Like last week, I kind of talked a little bit about some of them, but I was like, I don't want to go into too much detail. I'm gonna say yes, no, or maybe. But of course, like I said, I got you on this week, so we can go in a little bit more detail. If you want, you can say yes, no, maybe, or you can go, dive a little further and say.
Well, you started, man. You started with my best one. Yes, and yes, please. Rick Smith's the one that I've read all the bios. I've read, I've read what they've done. I trust this guy, man. Like, he's not. What scares me is bringing in somebody from the older generation of GMs that don't seem to look at the same level of talent. This guy brought in Deshaun Watson, which was a high pick that year.
Exactly.
That's scary. Bringing in a running quarterback before everybody was really doing that, and it's working out great. DeAndre Hopkins there, JJ Watt. Like, Rick Smith's my dude, man. They hired him right now, I'd be stoked.
Yep. And I forgot to mention in the beginning, but most of the candidates, besides I think my last one right now, which you haven't seen, but I'm gonna show them. Basically, they're all African American candidates, and that one of the reasons being is that's been a big topic of discussion the last few years, with the Rooney Rule and all that. So I made sure to include them, but also I got some of these guys from Atlanta Falcons wire, whatever, and these are just guys that have been rumored and named to possibly come into or are having interviews or have had interviews already, which a few of them would be down the line. But like you just said, I'm big on this guy as well, hoping that we're able to bring him in. The things that he was able to do in Houston. I think Bill O'Brien was the main and biggest reason why they probably failed in a lot of ways. And I know that's a whole different conversation for another day. So, like you said, I would definitely be on board with them bringing him in immediately. So this is a yes for me as well. Reggie McKenzie's former GM of the Oakland / Los Vegas Raiders.
Scares me. I put it maybe at best. Looking at his bio, he's the older generation of guys, right?
Yep.
He pulled in some good guys in Oakland. I'm not going to complain about that in the slightest. But at the same time, some of his bigger ones that I love, like Khalil Mack, he's not there anymore. That's not the kind of guy you let run away. So I mean, I don't know. I'm not huge on him myself.
Yeah. For me, same thing. Like you say, like I feel like obviously just like Julian said earlier with the head coaching, shifting to more younger, I can understand why they would be doing the same thing with the GM. Like I guess with him, like you just said, the biggest names that he's brought in, like Khalil Mack and other guys, they aren't there anymore. Like this is a totally different team from when he was.
Cooper,
they're saying not there no more. Traded. It's like everybody that he kind of was known for bringing in, they're not there anymore. So that's a little scary. Like you said, he was I guess executive of the year, 2016. That. So it's like he has a little bit he has some accolades under his belt. But like you just said, he's just an older guy. And I'm probably on the maybe to no train as well. It'd be cool, like I said, just to give him I guess another shot. Maybe he can repeat with some of the talent that he was able to bring in drafting wise, but I don't know, like for a long one, because I don't know like what you call it. I don't forgot his name. It's funny because ever since we fired them, I forgot both of their names. Dan Quinn and
Thomas
Dimitroff. Yeah. How long was he with it? It was about 12 years, right? Yeah.
Dimitroff was there from my God, he was there for Matt Ryan's.
Matt Ryan's there, so I'm saying it had to been like
13 years,
12
yeah.
years, yeah. So, for a long, like, a long haul, long scope, I don't know if he's really the guy that I would want. And he fits our direction that we're trying to go in. So, next would be Champ Kelly, director of college scouting, Chicago Bears.
I want to hear your thoughts before I jump in, but
yeah, I mean, he spent 2 seasons, he spent 2 seasons prior with the Chicago Bears, with the Denver Broncos. He was there from 2007 2014.
Yep.
Obviously, I guess in that time where they got the one Super Bowl. Yeah, yeah. So I guess under his tree, it'd be kind of with Von Miller. Had Chris Harris for a while.
He brought in Peyton.
Yeah, it was like Peyton.
I can pretend like I just know all this stuff, but like
that's what I'm saying. What's the guy's name? He was with Dallas before, but came over with them. Was able to win that Super Bowl that year as well. DeMarcus Ware. Yeah. So I mean, pretty good guys as well under the organization. He also, he served as an assistant coordinator of pro and college scouting in 2008, 2009. Like, he's been around, I guess, with a winning franchise and during the time they were winning. So, I mean, it's understandable. Another young guy, and then another young African American guy. So I'm not opposed to giving him a chance. But I guess looking at the Chicago Bears side of it all, I don't think obviously he didn't have the final say or the whole say, but the biggest thing everybody's gonna look at, obviously Pat Mahomes, Deshaun Watson, the quarterback class with Mitch Trubisky. Yeah, it's like I said, I'm pretty sure it's not all on him, obviously, but he's the director of college scouting, so
that year was so weird though.
Yeah,
like everybody had Trubisky built up to be this like stud, and I remember I mean, we've talked about UNC before. I was going like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like, I just don't see that's just that drive, that hype that comes through the draft class.
Exactly.
Me personally, I read on the Falcons website because they looked into this guy as well. He worked at IBM for a few years, has a master's and a BA from Kentucky. Like he's a logistics guy. I like that a lot. It's pulling in something. It's pulling out outside backgrounds or something else other than just I've been an intern into this. So like I can dig it. I mean he's on like a maybe to yes train for me, mainly because like I'm big into Rick Smith and I'm big into a couple others.
Yeah.
I would not be mad at this hire.
Yeah, I'm on. Like I said, everything honestly is moving the numbers and logistics anyway. Like I said, having that type of background would be cool as well. So yeah, I would be on board with that as well. Like I said a maybe as well. Brad Holmes, director of college scouting, Los Angeles Rams.
His story scared me because if I'm not wrong, he's been with LA for like 20 years.
Yeah.
This dude
that's terrible. Yeah, exactly.
So I mean that's kind of what it is. The Rams were kind of okay when he started. Like they went through a big depression of just not being good for a while. And then and obviously when they brought in Sean McVay, some things changed around. He's on the no end for me. I don't want to get too much into it, like you said, but like it's
it's a and for me too. Like you said, he's been with one organization for a long time. I guess I don't know if it's a positive or a negative, but he's seen the up and downs of the Rams. The last few years has been the up portion. So maybe he kind of knows how to turn things around, maybe in a sense, when they are down. But like you said, he's been with them for over 16 years. Like you said, about around 20 years.
Crazy.
Yeah, ridiculous. And
for having a pro job for 20 years, though. I mean, something's not good about him, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like to not, really. I guess he probably moved up within an organization, but not like move. Period. Like just some type of promotion, like somewhere else or whatever. Or just wanting to get out and go to a different organization. But I mean, player tree wise, I mean, decent. I mean, Aaron Donald obviously would be the biggest name to like hand down. Yeah, exactly. So, but I guess it's interesting. He used to actually work for the Atlanta Hawks here. So, I don't know if he's from here. If that's some type of hometown connection. I don't even know if it'd be something he's interested in doing. Like with being with the organization for so long. So, but you say more so probably on the no end for me as well. Just because like I feel like he's seen more down than ups with that Rams organization. It's really been the last few years. So And then a big name. A lot of people actually obviously would know him more so for being on ESPN or commentating or whatever. But he actually was a former scouting director for the Eagles and Washington football team. So Louis Riddick,
the sexy pick of the year, right?
Yep, exactly.
And whoever lands this guy is gonna be, they're gonna have his eyes on him.
Mhm.
I mean, like I said, I know more about him from ESPN, but dude, he knows what's up.
Mhm.
Like I will say that he knows exactly what's going on. He's got his takes are insightful. It's not just it's not like the Skip Baylesses, which you and I have already established. Like we can't.
Can't.
But no, I mean, I'd be insane to say no to this guy for 100 reasons. But no, I'd be interested to see if he actually wants it.
Yeah.
That's the bigger thing, because I know he's last year he started interviewing, I think, for positions. I know he ultimately wants to be a GM, but also, dude, he has got a cushy job on ESPN right now.
Yeah, like when people get into commentating, it's like everybody's like, why leave? Like why go anywhere else?
Anything wrong, short of saying something awful on air that makes people mad, like you've got the gig. But I mean, he has said he wants to be a GM. That's exactly where he wants to be.
Yeah.
And I know he interviewed with Detroit this year. By the way, the same team that Thomas Dimitrov, just throwing that one out there. So they're playing the biggest net I've ever seen. But no, I mean, I'd be fine with it. Former player. I mean, he was with us twice. So I mean, and he played on defense, guys. Like but yeah, I mean, I'd take him in a heartbeat.
Yeah. Same here. Like I said, this is the sexy pick of the year. I would definitely, this would be a yes for me as well. I feel like he has a good eye for the game and for players as well. Even when you just hear him commentating. Like you said, also a former player. So it's like maybe he can bring, and he was a former player with us in 92 and 96. I think 96. I think that was a decent year for us. But I think he was with us, when it was the Dirty Birds or whatever. They were, a decent organization. So
wasn't good yet.
Oh yeah, 1999, wasn't it? Or 98, yeah. So not yet, but he was around right before I guess they was about to pop off. But some of the notable players I guess that he acquired during his time with the Eagles, Deshaun Jackson, Asante Samuels, Jeremy Maclin was decent for a few years. LaShawn McCoy, Michael Vick, Jason Kelsey, pretty big name center. Fletcher Cox, Zach Ertz. So I mean, he's had some pretty good guys that he brought in under. Yeah, serious name. That's what I'm saying. So a lot of them.
At the same time, I don't think anybody has to justify hiring this guy this year.
Yeah, exactly.
Like if you get him, good.
Yep.
Go forth.
Yep.
And I will say, I heard a rumor. It's strictly a rumor, but that he had a job nailed down last year and wanted to bring McDaniels out of New England to be the head coach with him. And whoever was looking at him didn't want McDaniels as a coach. He passed.
Oh wow!
I would be interested to hear if that was real.
Yeah, me too as well, because that's real interesting actually, because obviously we have a head coaching job open as well. So it's like if it's a specific guy that he's looking at that he wants to bring in with him to our organization, would Arthur Blank and Rich McKay like be open to that and accepting of that, or would they be?
Rich McKay, Thomas Dimitrov, they're up to their knees in New England.
Yeah.
I don't think they would say no to that. I personally don't want McDaniels coming in.
Yeah.
I don't trust the Belichick coaching tree.
Yeah.
He's
Patricia is
really worked out. Right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, you can point to one coach off his tree that's awesome, and he's not even in the pros.
Yeah.
Saban is incredible. Duh. But at the same time, he's got that Belichick, the Belichick ego or whatever. It works because they are there. If Belichick leaves, the system doesn't work anymore. So I mean, that'd be my biggest drawback for Louis Riddick. And that's just conjecture and whatever. But that would be the big thing for me, is if he insisted on bringing McDaniels with him, I don't know that I would be on board.
Yeah. What if if it was any other? Because there's a few coaching candidates out there, like. I think he's pretty high on Eric Bieniemy. So it's like, if you wanted to bring in like a guy like him with him, would you be? I mean,
Bieniemy's not as high up on my list as other people, mainly because he's not the one calling the plays in Kansas City.
Yeah.
He's riding that Andy Reid train right now.
Mm-hmm.
Now, everything I've read says he's great with the players. He really gets them ready and everything else. But at the same time, Raheem kind of does that too. That's one thing that I really give Raheem credit for is like he manages the egos. He lets them know what's up. I don't know. I'd be fine with Eric Bieniemy. Don't get me wrong. If he showed up, let's get it. But I mean, I'm just not over the moon at him like I could be.
Yeah, I feel that as well. Pretty much like you say, it's like this. Like you say, like we kind of have guys or had guys that done that in the past. Like Dan Quinn was like more so known as a players coach as well. But is he going to be one of those guys that also holds them accountable? And like we seen this past week, Raheem Morris that called out Matt Ryan said he didn't play well in the media, and we saw him play lights out this past game.
Yep.
So yeah, is Eric Bieniemy a guy like that as well? I think so. I think he could be. I don't. It's kind of hard. I guess like in Kansas City, it's like how much accountability are you going to hold for them? Like it's like 13-1. Like what do you?
Good. I mean, the only thing like the hardest part about their job was making the decision to move on from Alex Smith to Patrick Mahomes. But once you did it, my God, dude, just right. Like you don't have to do anything anymore. So that's my biggest concern, because anybody would look good. I'm almost willing to say, but not quite, that Dirk Cutter would even look good with Patrick Mahomes under center, but not quite.
I was like, we gotta hold our words a little bit on that one. But I can say it'd be really, really hard to mess up with Patrick Mahomes and all the weapons that surrounded him.
Dirk would find a way, but it would take.
He would. Yep. It would take. Boy, that's not it. We'll go down a rabbit hole talking about that, and then a guy that actually I think recently got interviewed. He's actually under our organization right now at the moment. Anthony Robinson. He's a director of college scouting for our Atlanta Falcons right now. So staying in house. Are you big on that or?
No. And it's only because he's in house because I actually like the story, but. Yeah. No, I mean I'm on the train of just taking the entire group above the players and pushing them all out the door. We just need something new, and it's not on him. It's he's been a part of Dimitrov's team that did quite well at times, but he was also a part of some horrible busts. And that's where I'm at with that.
Yeah, like we both just said, and like I said earlier, it's just like unfortunately for him too, because he's only been with us for 2 years, but it hasn't been the greatest 2 years. It's probably been two of the worst years in recent memory. Obviously all the mishaps, giving up so many fourth quarter leads or just leads in general. So I guess this is his third. In his 13th season, he's been I guess in our Falcons personnel department, but I guess just his second year in his position. Yeah. So I don't know, just that long tenure, he's seen the good and the bad with us as well. And I guess
if he's been there for 13 years, that sounds like Dimitrov hired him.
Yeah, exactly.
In which case,
no. Yep. Any type of Dimitrov hire got to go. Yeah. So I mean, he's been around. He knows the game. The only question I would have. Or not question. It's more so a no for me as well. But just because he's been with us for so long, he's seen the ups and downs. We kind of just want to get rid of anybody in house, but also because so just the director of college scouting, I'm sure he had some hand in scouting as well, like moving up with us in his 13-year tenure. The guys that we've been like, there's certain guys Dimitrov has hit on, and there was certain guys Dimitrov has just been a total bust on. We talked about it. Yeah, I think we've said it a few times, like Jalen Collins. Like,
I mean,
Jesus Christ,
Isaiah Oliver. I mean, like,
Isaiah, I haven't been.
But on the same front, Grady and round, Foye has been stellar. Debo second round. I mean, like they're Keanu Neal. Like, all right, I will say
that when he hits, but when he doesn't, it looks very, very bad.
Like, dude, where were you aiming? Yeah, the one thing I will say, I will backtrack slightly. Dimitrov changed my mind on labeling a reach. I do not believe in reaches anymore. And it's mainly because, I thought that AJ Terrell was a reach. I was like, you could have got him in the second round. He would have been there.
Yeah.
First of all, we don't know what teams are doing. Like apparently 3 teams behind us were trying to get at AJ.
Yeah.
I would have taken Okudah hands down, but who's had the better season? And also Keanu Neal, I felt the same way. I was like, dude, we could have gotten him in the second round. What's going on? We're not the ones in those war rooms.
Yeah.
So I will give Dimitrov and his team, and that would include Anthony Robinson, credit on that.
Yeah.
He's if he's been director of college scouting, he has really found the guys that work in a lot of ways. It outside of a damn pass rusher. I'm just
exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like they hit on the guys that they hit on is like magnificent. Grady, obviously the biggest one, being 3-time Pro Bowler. Keanu. I was okay with the Keanu pick. I questioned it a little bit for a few minutes that draft night, but I'm a Florida Gator guy, so I was like, I already kind of knew what he was going to bring to the team.
Oh, yeah.
It's just that, like you said, the position he was drafted in, like I thought he would be there in the second round as well, so I was all for bringing him in, but I was like, you could have waited, had another guy there. I forgot who it was I wanted that year. I think it was like a defensive line. It was somebody on the defensive line. I know that for sure. It was. Yeah, I'm almost positive it was a defensive end or a defensive tackle, either one. But when I was okay with them bringing him in. It's just like where we drafted him. I was just like, could have waited, because I think we either had an early or mid-second round pick as well. So I was like, we could have waited, but who knows? Like I said, we don't. In that specific drive, I didn't know what guys were doing. This one with AJ Terrell, like I was just like you. I knew we needed a corner, but I was just so much higher on other guys. Like I was high on Trayvon Diggs. Yep. I was high on I think Christian Fulton. I think he's with the Tennessee Titans. Yeah. I was just higher on other guys, and I was like, he doesn't fit our scheme, and I don't know. Like he was a little bit undersized than those 2 guys as well. So I was like, I don't know how it's gonna work out, but I will say he's been the highest rated. I don't know if it's rookie overall or just cornerback rookie this year.
I think corner.
Yeah, it might be to be corner.
He's outplayed Okudah. He's outplayed.
And he's been healthy. Like besides being on the COVID list for those few years, or not years, my fault, for those few weeks.
Years, man.
I know, right? Jesus Christ. He's been out there balling. They've like the way I've been seeing him using. Like on Sunday, I think he was floating with Mike's with Mike Evans. I think I would just remember every single time Mike Evans was catching ball, he was on them. So I think they had him floating Mike Evans. So I guess they've been giving him that responsibility. Like he's following the number 1 receiver, been using him kind of like,
nothing to lose.
Yeah, exactly. Nothing at all. Just more experience. And it's actually worked out. He hasn't been that bad. Like every kind of like play, like, it might look kind of bad. It's like, he's just really like one step off. Like, but he's always right there. Like always right there. It's either like a real tight throw or like, I still think that one on Sunday, like Mike, the deep one where he almost scored, like Mike Evans pushed off, like easily pushed off. Like I'm like, you got to call offensive pass interference because he literally threw him. He went sliding to the end zone, had to come back. But like I said, AJ Terrell has been terrific. I was really down on him. Like when I actually started my podcast around the draft, and I was is going in on him, but like he definitely has changed my mind for sure.
Oh yeah, and also he was coming off of like, the biggest bust performance,
in the national championship, and I knew that's all people will remember.
And at the same time, damn man, like you can't hold that against him. LSU that year was insane. We see what Justin Jefferson's doing this year, so it's like no one's really holding him. So it's like for him to, and he had to worry about him and Jamar Chase, who people. Are higher on Jamar Chase than they are on Justin Jefferson. So it's like you can't really blame the guy. But like I said, he's definitely performed this year, and I will give credit to him where credit is due. So yeah, he definitely deserves that. But I guess we'll move on. This is actually, I believe, the last one. Just had to throw a Kansas City guy in there because he hasn't really been swirling too much in our organization, but anybody in Kansas City right now is going to be hot for some type of job somewhere. So yeah, and that's the way it works. And frankly, man, I'm gonna go on a lot. Just go out and say we don't need another white executive in the NFL.
Yeah,
and I don't mean to toss down him like that. I'm sure he does. Yeah. I actually don't know a whole lot about him.
Yeah,
but I mean it's true. Like that, I was really disappointed in the head coaching search last year because it ended up, they were grabbing all these, like that one dude from the Patriots that got hired.
Oh yeah. Joe Judge.
This guy, like, so I mean, just me personally, just no.
Yeah. No, it's the same. Me as well. I don't know too much on. I literally I threw him on here last second before we even got on, because I was like, you know what, he's a Kansas City guy. He was literally like last on the list. I think on the Atlanta Falcons wire or whatever. Like I said, just anybody in Kansas City organization right now is going to be hot for a coaching job somewhere else. So director of football operations. Obviously, we've seen what they've done. It kind of goes without saying. We don't really need to say too much more, but
we get it.
I would agree with what you said. Like I don't know if we need another one. He probably does, like you said, fine work. Obviously, you see what he's done with this Kansas City football team last 3-4 years. So, I mean, I could understand why they would look at him, but like you said, like I want the page to be turned somewhere where we're starting to, have a little bit more diversity in these higher positions of power.
Yes.
And I think the Falcons, our organization, this is the perfect time to do so. And Arthur Blank he is one of the guys that's kind of, I think he's in some type of in the diversity board or whatever, for the NFL. He does something but I'm just hoping this isn't one of those times where, we're just interviewing these guys just to, have that out there just to get publicity stuff, get our pat on the back, and be done with it, and then we just go in a totally different direction. Because then obviously, just like you, I'm sure we're both gonna be upset about it.
Yeah. It's time.
And then we'll end off the show more so a little bit on a positive note. I mean, that wasn't
boys.
Yeah, we got a few guys that's going to the Pro Bowl. A few guys I think we should have probably also gone to the Pro Bowl, but we'll talk about these guys. Of course, I don't think it goes without saying these guys have had incredible years. Younghoe Koo, for us, has been a savior. Ever since, honestly, like I said, last year when he would kick, I was always tense up a little bit. I'm like, it might be
shaky, right?
Yeah, it was shaky. They was ugly kicks, but they would go in. But this year, it's I'm like, okay,
dramatic, man.
It doesn't matter. 55, 53. I'm like, okay, we're 3 points on the board. We're all good.
Me, that's another nail in the coffin for Dan Quinn's time here, because he did not trust Younghoe to kick those 50-yarders. All he's done is prove every time. Have you noticed those 54-yarders he's kicking?
Yeah. They're down. Yeah, they're better than the 30s and 20s and extra points.
But I was like, that same kick, you could back it up even further. You know what I mean? So I was like, I don't know. This dude's a stud.
Yeah.
For my money, pay this man. Pay him whatever we need to keep him here.
Exactly.
He's been killer, and also goes without saying, the onside kicks that he's pulled.
Yes,
he's the man. I'm all on board with this guy.
Yeah, I love it. Like I said, I've seen him, I guess, since he went to Georgia Southern, so I've gotten to see him a little bit. I went to Georgia State. They play once a year, and because they're in the same conference. I've seen him and heard his name for a while. So when I heard they were bringing him in last year to kick, I was glad he got another opportunity, because I felt like his time in now the Los Angeles Chargers, but time in San Diego was prematurely, it was cut short. It was definitely premature, especially if you see the guy that they got now kicking, number wise, it's damn near the same. So I was like, all right, yeah, we definitely hit a diamond in the rough with this guy. Well, he's 35 for, I think he passed Matt Bryant this past Sunday, but I think he's 35 total made field goals for the year. So
still love Matt Bryant, but
definitely deserved it.
Have you noticed kickers are weird, man? You almost don't want to bring one out of college. You want them to practice and just
bounce a little bit around the league, see what they're doing, stuff like that. And it's definitely weird, because I don't
a kicker coming out of college that everyone was just losing.
Yeah, exactly. The only one I can think of right now, and it's still kind of up in the air just because he got hurt, but Rodrigo Blankenship. You know, so we'll see. Kind of how his career goes, but I'm glad we got Younghoe Koo. Like you said, pay him whatever we got to pay him, so we can just have that spot solidified. Because honestly, if it wasn't for him, there could be a lot more. These score lines could be looking a lot worse than what they have been looking this year.
Wrong. And do you remember that Matt Bryant got hurt, Giorgio Tavecchio came in, hit a couple of kicks. Everybody was like, "This man's again."
Yeah.
I cannot describe to you how scared I was the beginning of last season when he was blowing those kicks in the preseason. I'm like, oh man, we've been pampered for years having Matt Bryant.
Right, yep.
And all of a sudden you go, those 3 points aren't automatic anymore. That's terrifying. So having this guy locked down, man, good for us.
Yeah, because like I said, I was like, there's no way we can bring Tavecchio into the regular season doing what he's doing. There's no way in hell that can happen. So definitely glad we found this guy. And brought him into the organization. And
What
it
do you-
shows Pro Bowl first
Yeah.
full year with us.
Yeah. And what do you say about Grady? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, dude's a stud.
Yeah, there's nothing more to say. Like he's just all over the field. Wherever the ball is, you're gonna find him. He's gonna be trying to hunt it down some way, somehow. Even like I said, this past Sunday, even though it wasn't ruled a fumble, but came from the defensive line, rushing the passer, getting blocked slightly, almost got Tom Brady, turns around, gets tracks down Scotty Miller, and then punches out the ball. It's like
Down a slot receiver. Like, what do you do?
What defensive tackle do can
Nope.
do that? No one. So was it the third one? I know second in a row.
Mhm.
I feel like he had one. I don't know if he had one. Nah, I think we had one. I think the year. Did he have the 1 year after we went to the Super Bowl? I don't know. It's either second or third.
This is his second because he got
Okay.
yeah
Okay. Yeah. So shout out to Grady.
snubs, by the way.
Yeah, the biggest got to.
Yeah, you were firing, man. You were firing off on Twitter, and I was all man. It's literally. No, I can't even make that argument for it. I was gonna say it's like the teams that don't win, you don't send as many, right?
Yeah.
But Justin Jefferson went above him, and Calvin's got better stats.
Better stats across the line, like with a game less played. So I was like a little questionable about it. I know it's like they got the fan voting, but obviously they got the player and coaching and all that, the organization and stuff. But it's like I think more so like not a hype thing, like with our guys, especially like our star guys, they're not really in the spotlight limelight. Like he's just honestly like Julio, like pretty quiet guy, stays to himself, goes out there, does his job every Sunday. Justin Jefferson, I'm not saying it's a bad thing because it's like kind of like what the kids do nowadays. Like they just I'm cat behind me, but they basically, they gravitate to that type of stuff. Jefferson's, known for the gritty, does his little dance, just on social media a lot more. It's that fan to player connection. I guess that probably put him over the hump because I'm pretty sure if anything, it was probably like the fan voting.
Man, and honestly, I like our receivers for that reason. Like I like the fact that Julio's not, he had his little holdout one time, but for the most part, he goes to work. He does it better than anybody else. He fights through, he fights through injury after injury. And Calvin's literally like you're watching that Roddy White tree down, right? Yep. Like Roddy taught Julio. Roddy had a lot more to say. Don't get me but it's just different, man. Like I love our guys for that reason.
Yeah, I do as well.
And Calvin's time is coming.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying that he didn't have a great year this year because he did, but his time is coming where he's going to be top 3 in the game.
Yeah,
but it's gonna be after Julio gets out. Yeah,
more than likely, like you said, because Julio's still that our guy. Nationally known is our guy. Like, everyone knows. People know Calvin, but it's still we think Falcons, you thinking Julio.
Yep.
But like you say, like a career high day. I didn't even realize it was a career high because he had a big game earlier in the year. We had a big game. He had a big game earlier in the year, and I keep patting myself on the back because fantasy wise, I feel like I took him out of position that he really probably shouldn't have been drafted. I probably could have went one more round and still got him, maybe. But I was like, you know what? I knew he was gonna have a big year. I knew he was focused. I was just hearing all the things that he was talking about in camp. He's like, I'm gonna have 1,000-yard receiving year. Like it's just gonna happen. And I already know he's the touchdown machine. So I was like, you know what? Let me go ahead and grab him. And like the first game of the year, what he had, or no, first or second game, I don't know. He had like 120, 40 something yards. So I thought that was probably his career high at the time. But yeah, another stellar performance this past week. A touchdown, 163 yards. I forgot how many catches. I think about 8. So definitely a Pro Bowl stuff in my opinion. Like I said, just he has better stats across the board. Like I wasn't obviously like DeAndre Hopkins. Like you can't take away anything he's done this year in the NFC with the Cardinals. Devontae Adams, he's probably my second, third best and favorite receiver. His route running is ridiculous. So, and then I think they only take 3. Yeah, no, they take 4. I forgot who the other one was, but Justin Jefferson,
they're not doing the in-game, in-person game, so you don't get to see the guys cycle out and get there first. So I really think that Calvin might have gotten in that situation.
Yeah. But I guess it's still kind of possible a little bit. I mean, I guess not really because, like you just said, they're not playing per se. So it's kind of just more so or with the NBA, like an all NBA type team, stuff like that. Like you might make like all pro or something like that. I don't know. But I guess if they were to play or whatever, I guess it would have possibly been a possibility, depending on what the not Vikings, sorry, what the Green Bay Packers did. So they went to the Super Bowl. Like they probably, I feel like he should or would be next in line to be sliding into that Pro Bowl. Like I feel like there's no question there shouldn't be, because I think he's like I said, he's top 10 for sure. And I think in every category, every major category receiving. So I mean, we see. I was like, we're Falcons guys. Obviously, we see you. Really, your time, like you said, your time is coming. Nationally, you're about to put a spotlight on. Even like I said, it'll come next year, hopefully. If they don't realize by now. So. But yeah, then we're gonna end off this show. I know I talked about a little bit last week. Two guys that I feel like we're gonna be aiming at in the draft this year. Like I said, we're still sliding at 5. I don't think we're gonna move too much within these past 2 weeks. Even if we do, I think whoever we're eyeing at that pick is still going to be there. But any guys that you have on your radar or think we should be looking to draft this upcoming NFL draft?
Not Chase. I will put it that way. No, we don't need to take a wide receiver in the first 5 picks. I think you go defense, right? I mean, if Micah Parsons is there, I don't think you walk away from that. I think, like Gregory Rousseau, it would be a good one. I'm not really sold on them yet, so I'm not going to give you a name, but if you don't go D-line, if we can't find a way to pull somebody in free agency, which we've got no money, so it's not surprising. If you don't go D-line, I think locking up that CB2 spot wouldn't be a bad idea. Because I mean, Isaiah Oliver, I really don't feel like is. Oh yeah,
no. He's been demoted ever since. Like we've gotten more healthy. With Kendall Sheffield back and what you call Denard and all those guys. He's been more so of a nickel guy. Like they'll insert him here and there. But
I don't know if you realize this, but Asante Samuel Jr. is ready to come out of Florida State. By the way,
yeah.
He's not a first round guy, but CBS has him at the 46th best player. So he's like a mid-second round, which I mean, I love, by the way, because if he plays, anything like Asante did, I'm pretty great with that.
Yeah.
But, I mean, like the dude out of Virginia Tech, Farley, I mean, I don't know that he's a top 5. I will say that the latest mock draft I saw actually had Atlanta at 5 taking Justin Fields.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because they were saying that now that the Jags have the first pick, they'll take Trevor.
Yeah.
And that the Jets actually were taking – who was it? I mean, I think I can pull it up really fast.
Yeah, of course.
That's the thing that threw me more than anything else. I went, what are you talking about? Yeah, they took an O-lineman. That Sewell out of Oregon. And then, this one actually has Mac Jones going to us instead. Why in the world? Like that's a reach. If you want to talk about a reach that I was talking about earlier, that's a reach. So they're all over the place. They're saying Carolina could come away with Justin Fields. You never know what they're wanting them to do. Yeah. How do you feel about a quarterback though if they're there? If one of the top 2 guys are there?
I don't know. I still think Jefferson. Sorry, I still think that Justin is he's a stellar guy. He's a guy that I wouldn't be okay with backing up Matt Ryan for his rest of his tenure with us. His last 2 years on his contract, learning behind him and then coming in, because like we were talking about earlier, we get that mobile quarterback. He has a strong arm and he has decent decision making. I know we've seen flaws in the Indiana game and then also this past Big Ten championship with Northwestern, but overall he's a kid that can play. And I would be okay with it, but it's like, are we then that kind of whatever we do, if we was to pick him there, it kind of signals what we're looking to do, moving forward. Like it's kind of like we're not looking to win or help our defense, obviously within the next year or two with having Matt and Julio, play out their contracts or whatever. So that's the only thing I'm a little worried about if we were to go quarterback there. It's more so we're gonna play a waiting game.
Same. I mean, it's not like Green Bay last year when they went with quarterback in the first round. They had just come off an NFC championship. Like, they lost, but they made it there.
Yeah.
We are coming off of 2 7-9s and then whatever in the world we're about to get this year.
Oh, exactly.
Like, we're not exactly, so if we went quarterback, honestly, Matt Ryan deserves better. Like personally, like I feel like get him some pieces that can actually maybe leak out a ring before he retires. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I mean, but at the same time, like, give him a shot. You know, like I don't know if we're at that point yet.
Yeah.
Now, if for some reason we found a way into Trevor Lawrence, you can't walk away from Trevor Lawrence. But it's just we're not going to do that.
Yeah, I don't see it as well. And there's still like I don't and this. I'm not saying they shouldn't go quarterback at any point in this draft because I think you said it a few times. Like we have a good amount of draft picks this year that we usually we don't. So I feel like what third, fourth round they can. There's some guys that might still possibly be there and more likely coming out like Kyle Trask, Mac Jones. They've been playing really well this year. I mean they're not. Trask is he's not a running quarterback, but he's like he will run if you have to. Yeah, it's like if he has to, he will. Mac Jones more so. I think I need more of a sample size. He's had a spectacular. It's like his year this year is more so like Joe Burrow's year last year. It's like you can't say anything bad about the guy, and he's had.
Yeah, I just don't trust Alabama quarterbacks.
and that's another thing. Yep, like it's proven time and time again. You can't like the only thing you can really trust from them is wide receivers. Like they bust them out and defensive backs as well. Yeah, running backs. Yeah, look here and there. Yeah,
because I don't consider Jalen Hurts to be an Alabama quarterback at this point. He's more of an Oklahoma guy. Now Tua, he's playing fine, but when you get it's like the AJ McCarron, it's like all the guys that kind of fall into that pocket passer, not really mobile guys. That's me.
Yeah, I totally feel you on that. And then I actually was going through this one blog, the Blogging Dirty or whatever. Yeah. He brought up Asante Samuels. They're actually saying that we should be picking him. I guess we have the 37th pick in the second round, and they said that's a guy that we should select there. But like we said, I guess more backtracking a little bit to the first round. Like I said, I still think we need defensive line help. I would be fine getting Greg Rousseau from Miami or whatever. I would totally love that. But I've been big on wanting to get a running back, whether it's Najee Harris, and I just turned it again. They're saying we're supposedly, I don't know if he makes it there, honestly, and especially given what he might possibly do in the national championship. I don't think he makes it to the third round, but they're saying third round, 69 pick, we should be picking Najee Harris. Dude. I still kind of want Etienne a little bit more, but I would not, be upset with the Najee Harris pick.
If Rick Smith or Louis or Riddick or anybody come in and they grab Greg and they grab Asante Samuel and you get like an ETN or somebody, I'm sold for the next 5 years. Yeah. I don't care who you grab. Yep. Like my goodness,
that would be the best draft class for us since I guess the Debo Keanu Neal draft class. So it was about 4 years. That
was really a good one.
Yeah. So it would be 5 years then. So Greg, Asante, and Najee, that's automatically we should be. I was about to sound crazy. I was like, we should automatically be right back in the playoff conversation.
But at the same time, man, all of a sudden you put a guy like Greg down on the D line, then you got Grady, obviously still. You got Marlon Davidson, who's probably gonna be stepping up and do something next year.
Yeah,
and you got to play Dante Fowler because you paid him. But even then, put those three against an offensive line, Dante might, weirdly enough, be the one that's left alone.
Yeah.
And he's thrived when he's not the main guy.
Exactly. So, that's what he needs somebody else on that opposite side to kind of take a little bit of tension away because that's the thing with us. And I know, I think some of the UK guys, but some other guys overall, just like in other Falcon groups and stuff, we're down on the amount of money that we gave him just because, he's not that big of a pass rusher. I guess for some people, he might remind everybody of like Vic Beasley a little bit. Like he has kind of I feel like he has more moves than Vic Beasley had. Vic Beasley just try to use his speed and swim every single time. I was like, what are you doing? Like that's not going to work every single time. So, but the main thing I'm trying to say is basically in in the Rams defense, there's so many guys on that defensive line that you had to worry about. It's like he got that one-on-one matchup, and I would bet against him beating a one-on-one matchup. A tackle than having to try to fight through double teams or people more so focused on him. And that's what he can't, us giving him all that money, we brought him here. And that's what it basically is. That's what it became. I guess we was expecting Tech to be that guy that kind of helped and did the same thing, but I never saw it even when we drafted him as well. So I was
so bad though. Like his story was great. I loved walking up on stage with a picture of his grandma, but he's nah.
Yeah, it just wasn't. And he just injury prone, kind of a mouthy guy and didn't have the results to show. It just wasn't. I just saw it coming. Like we were going to cut him, especially at the beginning of the season from the moment, all of it just started to unravel. But that's pretty much what, like you just said, you hit it on the head. We just need a guy opposite him that can help take some of that attention away. And then I think next year, if that's what happens, people will start to kind of change their mind a little bit about Dante and see all right, I can see kind of why we gave him that money. He's going to start his stats and his just overall gameplay is going to start to improve because even this year, even though he hasn't really gotten that much sack and overall we haven't gotten that much pressure on the quarterback, he still has affected the play or he has affected plays for others around him.
More so than Vic ever did.
Exactly. That's what I was about to say. So the biggest game I guess I can point that to is the Raiders game. A little bit because I think his being able to create a little bit of pressure opened it up for the other side for to sign 91 or whatever to have the big game that he had. So
man, you got me high on this draft possibility now, man. Which it won't happen, but
exactly. I was the blog and everything, they just give the best case scenarios and you just read it and you just kind of get stuck. But those three, I'm excited myself. Those 3 picks, I have no issues with. I have no complaints. I'm I'm ready to go into the next season. But even if we're able to get two of those guys, I think I'm still pretty decent. But overall, I think the biggest, I guess we can give our biggest 3 needs, and then kind of close it out. But my biggest 3, obviously, I feel like defensive line, defensive end in particular, running back for sure. And I don't know, I guess I don't want to. It's pretty much the 3 that we just talked about: running back, cornerback. Solidifying that second spot would be ideal. And then obviously defensive line. But I just thought about it, I don't know. I don't want to get off track or whatever. But Keanu Neal, I don't know. I don't think we did pick up the 5th option. I think this was the 5th year. Do you think we're able to bring him back, or do you think because I know we looked at safety this past year with Jalen Hawkins, and he's played a few snaps over the year, but do we look at another type safety, like another hard-hitting safety like him, or are we able to bring him back?
I think we can bring him back. I mean, he's coming off of a good year. I mean, he's not been eye-popping by any means, but he's been hurt so much that I don't know. I think we could get him on a team-friendly deal. And then my biggest thing that people keep shooting past, by the way, is KZ. I want KZ to come back. I mean, he's a good free safety. I'm assuming Ricardo Allen's probably done after this year. But if we could have, if we could bring back Keanu Neal, bring back KZ, solidify the free safety, strong safety slot. You already got AJ Terrell there. You draft your cornerback too, whether it be in Asante Samuel or somebody. All of a sudden, that looks like a decent little secondary. So that's my general feeling. But if they can bring Keanu Neal back, I say do it.
Yeah, I'm all for it as well. Because like I said, I don't know. I don't know when year it was. I guess I'm agree with you and say I guess he should be done after this year. I know we had gave him some type of extension. I don't know if it was 2 years ago to where he's with us for 1 more year or whatever the case may be. But I think we do need to get one. We got to get bigger back there. We got to get just bigger, stronger, just a little bit more ball hawking type safeties.
And that's why I like KZ. KZ,
he's a ball hawking type safety. Yeah.
Basically, if we can get those 2 guys, we can lock down a cornerback, add a guy to the D line. I mean, all of a sudden I would argue that our linebacking core is fine.
Yeah, for sure.
Debo's fine. Foye had a breakout year.
Yeah, and Mikael Walker has actually been really good as well. I think he's somewhere in that top rookie PFF rankings as well. So I've been really impressed with him as well. So like I said, if it's not, I guess if it's not running back, which I feel we still definitely need to look at, then I would say somewhere in the safety area because I just feel like we need some type of upgrade. Overall, obviously, for me is our secondary. We just need some type of improvement. I think just a ball hawking type safety that can possibly hit as well. Just as a bonus, I'm all for that. So
for me, build up the defensive line. They don't have to do as much too. So
exactly. Yep. Yep. You're right. So scratch what I just said.
No, both work, man. We need to be better all the way around. But we're so close. That's the aggravating thing. Put in a coach, get us a head coach, get us a team actually coaching this team, and I think we're gonna be right.
Yeah, just someone to inspire us and help us. Like, it's weird saying help professional players finish games, but yes, just helping professional players learn how to win and finish a game, because literally we would be fifth, sixth spot at this current moment if we pull out every single win that we had a lead in. Like literally this past Sunday, Detroit, Chicago, Dallas.
Yeah, I mean,
and the Chargers game as well. That's 5 wins sitting in our lap.
5 wins. All of a sudden, we're a 9-win team.
Exactly. But you know, I guess just better hopes for better days, you know, in the upcoming months. But definitely appreciate you for coming on today, Greg. You know, we talked on the UK shows. I'm glad that finally have you on my show as well. And you know, just bringing all your insight. It's always good to talk to another fellow Falcons fan, especially one that has, you know, kind of like the same mindset and same thought process
for sure
as me. So thank you for coming on and you know, just sharing all your wisdom. I guess real quick before we head out, you want to let anybody know, I guess, where to follow you or find you on social media?
Yeah, I'm pretty absent at this point, but I got a Twitter that I run. It's at ATLS Post GT, which stands for shit posts. I'm mainly there just to troll Saints fans and whatnot, but I
love it.
But yeah, otherwise, yeah, man. Hopefully we can make this happen again soon.
Of course. Got 2 more games during the season. You know, I try to shake it up each and every week, so maybe, you know, we'll get on these past two games and talk about it a little bit more, and then maybe some more news about possibly who we're looking at will come out as well. So definitely was a pleasure, and like I said, definitely we'll have you on again. And for everybody watching, you already kind of know where to find me at. You know, tags are right here. What the game means to me on Twitter, or not Twitter, sorry, Instagram and Facebook. Twitter is WTG MTM Podcast. And of course, we're affiliated with Off the Ball Network. Appreciate everybody again for tuning in. I'll probably have another episode or another show later on. I'm be previewing the Hawks, trying to focus my way more so on basketball now, given that our season's pretty much done. But yeah. Thank you again for tuning in. Thank you again for being a part of the show again, Greg. And everybody have a great day.